Hey again, it's Jason from Fraser Valley Rose Farm here with another propagation video. This time I'm talking about hydrangeas and how to do hydrangea cuttings fast and easy, with the emphasis on the fast. Because hydrangeas are pretty easy anyway. You can do them from multiple techniques. You could even root it in a glass of water if you wanted to, but I found the fastest method by trial and error was the softwood tip cuttings, and let me show you how I arrived at that. About 7 weeks ago, I started making a video on how to do 4 easy plants from semi-hardwood cuttings. That was the emphasis of the video. You can look that one up, I'll throw a link up here. But at the time that I did it, what I found is that the hydrangeas actually lagged behind the other ones using the semi-hardwood technique. They were easy, they were successful, this is the result. So this is from a cutting taken 7 weeks ago, and they are now rooting to the side of the pot. But it took them a long time, and they're just now putting up their foliage after that cutting. So what I decided to do was try it out by softwood tip cuttings, and let me show you the difference between those. I've shown you this before on other videos, but there's a difference between the semi-hardwood section of wood and the softwood section. Semi-hardwood is from the same year of growth, it's from this year's growth, but it's actually somewhat ripened. It started to harden off. It's still bendy like this. It's not woody. It's not impossible to bend. It won't snap in your hands, but it has sort of a gentle bend in it. The section at the top here is actually very soft, very bendy, quite easy to move around with. That's the softwood section. And previously I shied away from doing that section because it actually dries out really quickly at the cutting stage, but I'd heard also that it roots relatively quickly compared to other methods. So I decided to put that on trial. So let's do a little cut here and strip off some of those bottom leaves. And you can see that this is a softwood cutting. And I'm just going to trim off a few leaves here, or parts of leaves here, just to reduce the leaf surface, and that's the kind of cutting I used in this method. The results were outstanding. This is the tray that I did. I did it on that video about 4 weeks ago that I posted, and out of the 19 that I stuck, 19 cuttings, all 19 are beautifully rooted now. And let me actually show you. So these are going to have to be separated anyway, and this one here is just beautiful. Look at all the white roots that you can see along the base of that cutting. So that's fantastic, and that happened over the course of just 4 weeks now, so it shaved a lot of time off the cutting. Plus, this already has a growing tip on it. It's already in foliage. It's going to be quicker to come around than the other ones. So then the question I have is, or the question you might have for me is, well, why does it matter? Why would it be important to do it quicker rather than just do it successfully? And the answer is, for me, because I run a small farm, the more time I spend on the cutting and the more space I spend on the cutting, the more expensive it is for me. So if it's faster and it gets done in a smaller amount of space, I can get it into a pot, I can get it ready for sale quicker. I spent less of my time on it, and I made more money doing that. You might not be in it for the profit motive, that's fine. I still think it's better results-wise to get the cutting done quicker so that you can get it rooting faster and you can get better blooms, bigger plants for the following year. Now, I have one other thing to say in this video, and I'm changing topics on sort of a 90-degree angle. I promised that I would do a section on thornless blackberries. I promised in another video on thornless blackberries that I would show how to do the propagation of that. So I'm going to take you out to the field real quick and show you how to choose the material to do thornless blackberries. All right, just a few late blackberries still hanging onto the bush here, but you can see that you can identify the fruiting sections of the wood fairly easily. And this is the only trick that I have to tell you about propagating thornless blackberries, is that if you choose the wood from a branch that is fruiting, it is much less likely to make a successful cutting. Whereas if you take one of these new shoots, these new branches that never fruited, this year's growth, that fresh new vegetative growth is way more likely to make a proper cutting for you. It's going to put on roots much faster, resume growth much faster, and you know, when I take cuttings from the sections that are fruiting. They struggle, they stall, they don't come up quickly, if at all. So just be sure to choose the fresh new growth, the vegetative growth stage. Okay, and once you've selected the right material for the blackberries, the cutting method is exactly the same as it is for roses. So if you refer back to my complete video on how to take cuttings of roses, there is really no difference in what I'm doing here. You're taking a section with 3 or 4 nodes on it, you're sticking it into the pots. I go 2 or 3 per, and it has a little bit of leaf on the top. You place that under mist, and you start looking for callus about 3 weeks later. This is a full tray here. Again, you know how I am about being economical about space and trying to get it done as quick as possible. This one here is 18 pots with at least 2 per pot, so I'm going to be able to do 36 thornless blackberry cuttings right from this little section here. If you have any questions at all about the methods that I've used in this video or any propagation methods by cutting, happy to take those from you. Please drop those comments and questions below the video, and thanks for watching.